Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the most controversial Assassin's Creed to date. Although the game is beautiful, it does have a lot of flaws. I'm a big fan of the older Assassin's Creed games like Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood and Revelations, but I did really enjoy the newer games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Origins as well. I would even go as far as saying that Odyssey was one of the better Assassin's Creed games I've played so far. Now that Valhalla's story has been concluded, it is time to give the game a proper review and ask ourselves the question, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla worth playing? Let's kick things off with some thoughts about the story of Valhalla. The game takes place in Norway in the year 873. Here, players are introduced to our protagonist, Eivor. Eivor and his or her brother, Sigurd, are caught up in conflicts in order to establish a settlement for their fragmented Raven clan. In order to do so, Eivor, Sigurd and a number of other Vikings make their way to England to form alliances with the locals. Your settlement in England, Ravensthorpe, can be upgraded by forging alliances across England, raiding villages and completing quests. After completing a few main quests, the player can decide where to go next with the help of Randvi. These destinations are all regions in England with their own side stories that come together in the end. For some regions, however, players need to be of a specific gear level to complete certain areas. This adds to the RPG element of the game. The conflict between the Assassins and Templars, which was a major aspect of previous Assassin's Creed games, has shifted to the background in Valhalla. While the conflict is still present in the main story, it is not as prominent as before. To me, that is very disappointing, and because of this, the story lacks a sense of mystery and feels more like a generic RPG story. Occasionally, players will leave the Animus to explore the environment in the present. The ties to the present are loose and don't carry that many meaningful moments. This might be great for new players, but might disappoint players like myself, who have been playing the franchise since the original game in 2007. During the story, players will meet a number of new characters. These characters often appear in cutscenes and give players the option to approach certain issues. These choices can have an impact on the game's ending, but some choices felt meaningless and the outcome was predetermined. The dialogues and cutscenes have excellent voice acting and are pleasant to listen to, but some cutscenes feel like filler content and are unnecessarily long. If this bothers you, you can easily skip bits of the cutscene by pressing the spacebar. This is what I ended up doing quite a lot. I have mixed feelings about the story in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. While it had its moments, I found it to be a bit stretched out and disjointed. Every time something exciting was about to happen, the game would send me off to another unrelated quest. And this is taking away from the suspense of the story. For now, let's continue with combat. And as a true Viking, you will engage in combat a lot. A big plus is that the combat is smooth like butter. The targeting works great, and with just a few button clicks, you can execute light and heavy attacks. It's simple and straightforward. Eivor also has access to a bow for taking out targets from a distance. But that's not all. Eivor has a wide variety of weapons to choose from. You can stick to the iconic axe or switch it up and go for a flail. And when fighting multiple enemies, it is wise to use a shield to parry attacks. When you do, it will weaken your enemies and expose their weak spots. And when those weak spots are fully exposed, Eivor can execute a stun attack. This takes them out instantly or deals significant damage. There is also a skill tree in Valhalla. Here you can spend points when you level up to become stronger and unlock new skills. Like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you can acquire new abilities as you level up. But in Valhalla, the system has been replaced with an enormous skill tree. It's packed with combat enhancements that will increase your damage, stealth and movement in the game. You acquire skill points by leveling up or completing side quests and then use them in the skill tree. Most of the skills in the tree are passive, but there are also skills you can activate manually. These are acquired through tomes of knowledge, which you can acquire by playing the story, exploring the world or completing side quests. The skill tree gives you multiple ways to play the game. You can enhance your stealth abilities and play as an assassin, or you can focus on combat and play as a true Viking. With the insane amount of skill points you can acquire during a playthrough, you can easily choose multiple paths without any doubt. However, this does make the choices you make in the skill tree feel a bit meaningless. You'll have plenty of points to spend, and you can always reset them if you want to try out something different. And as we all know, an Assassin's Creed game isn't complete without sneaking, shadows and assassinations. And at the start of the game, Eivor and his brother are introduced to the ways of the assassins. This includes the iconic hidden blade. However, stealth gameplay has taken a bit of a back seat in AC Valhalla. In most cases, it's more practical to rush into battle with your fellow Vikings, and the environment does does not always lend itself to stealth gameplay. Villages, cities and settlements are scattered across England and they often feel disconnected. While it is possible to take out enemies with the hidden blade in these areas, using a bow is far more practical. With a single headshot, which is easy to hit, you can take out enemies faster and from a distance, this all without being detected. In short, stealth gameplay in AC Valhalla feels a bit dumbed down and optional. You can still play that way if you choose, but there are more and effective ways to get to your target or complete objectives. The environment, on the other hand, is stunning. The forests, cities and fortresses are beautifully designed, and it's a pleasure to explore them. And with the game's side quests, you get the opportunity to venture to other parts of the world. These changes in environment make the game more enjoyable. It's also worth noting that Assassin's Creed Valhalla takes inspiration from other games. For example, The Witcher 3, especially in the villages. The gritty ambiance and poverty is present, and Ubisoft executed it very well. At least, that's how I view it. As I mentioned in our stealth gameplay section, the cities in the game feel somewhat disconnected from one another. The spaces in between the cities look great, but they can also feel somewhat empty. There's plenty to explore, but it often feels like the world is too big. Traveling by horse gets you anywhere within minutes, but it would be nice to feel more encouraged to explore everything in between the cities and main quests as well. The game could benefit from more incentives for players to explore and discover new areas. If you decide to stray away from the main story, there are plenty of side activities you can participate in. Some of these activities are even beneficial if you want to make Ivor as strong as possible. If you want to feel like a true Viking, then make sure to participate in Viking raids. Whenever you set out for raiding, you and a number of Vikings plunder local villages in order to gather supplies. These supplies can then be used for Ravensthorpe. Raids can be found all over England and can simply be started by blowing your horn. There's also river raids. These can be started at the docks in Ravensthorpe. These river raids are like treasure hunts. Here you have to manage your Vikings and collect the treasures that are hidden along the rivers of England. I really enjoyed raids in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It kept me searching for new treasures, new skills to unlock, or make my settlement as good as it can be. And this brings me to my next point, the collectibles. AC Valhalla is full of collectibles, and they come in many different forms. When you are exploring the world map, you'll notice a number of different sparks or dots. Each of them has its own color, and they all represent different types of collectibles. The first type are the gold sparks. These usually contain wealth in the form of crafting materials, tomes of knowledge, or unique armor. The next type are the white sparks, which represent artifacts. These usually come in the form of tattoo designs or Roman masks. They're mostly aesthetic, so they're great for players who like to collect things or change the way they look. Finally, we have the blue sparks, which represent mysteries. These can be a mini quest to help a local villager or a puzzle that you have to solve. Whenever you solve a mystery, Ivor is granted 1 skill point, which you can use in the skill tree. Most of these mysteries are easy to solve, while others are a bit harder. They're fun to do, but they can feel a bit repetitive. So if you are a collector or a completionist, you'll have plenty to do in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But to be honest, there are too many collectibles for the average player that plays Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The last side activity is another personal favorite of mine, flighting. You can think of flighting as a rap battle. While flighting, your opponent starts with a rhyme, and your goal is to mock them and respond with the best insult in rhyme. It's a fun and unique way to interact with NPCs and can increase your charisma. A higher charisma can lead to more dialogue options and opportunities. It's a great way to break up the traditional gameplay and adds a new layer of depth to the game. The flighting challenges are well written and are sure to bring a smile on your face. So be sure to take on some flighting challenges while you are exploring the game. So let's conclude the video. Let's see, after all that has been discussed, should you buy Assassin's Creed Valhalla if you have the chance? My overall impression of Assassin's Creed Valhalla is that it is a good RPG. It has learned a thing or two from its predecessors, but hasn't added anything innovative to the franchise. The assassins and their cause feel a bit absent in the game, and the story is alright, but it feels long-winded, especially in the middle section. The game just strayed away from its core story. The world is full of collectibles and side activities, which can easily add 100 hours to your playthrough. However, as a completionist, I felt that there were simply too many collectibles, and I had to skip some of them. Also, some of the collectibles feel unrewarding and repetitive. repetitive. The game can sometimes feel like too much. The story is long, there is too much to explore, and there are too many collectibles. All these things take away meaning from the things you do in the game. But despite its flaws, the game still keeps me coming back. And if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. All in all, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a good game, but I personally prefer Assassin's Creed Odyssey. New Assassin's Creed players will probably enjoy it more than fans of the original games. Pick it up when it's on discount and let me know what you think. See you in the next one. Peace!